So for the second series in a row, Sergei Bobrovsky's going to pitch a shutout. And an identical final score as to game one of the Eastern Conference Final against the Rangers.
The Oilers have scored one goal. Impossible to win like that. The Panthers are full marks for winning their 2 home games and a 2-0 series lead.
And that's going to do it as it comes down the ice. And this one is in the books as the Panthers hold on for a 4-3 victory. Still alive and headed to Game 5 Tuesday night in Sunrise. Clock winding down. How does Game 6 sound in the Stanley Cup Final Friday night at Rogers Place? They were 2-9-1. They were 0-3, and they will Monday night play a one-game showdown for all the marbles and the Stanley Cup.
I have no idea if any of you guys saw Game 7 coming, but I'll tell you I certainly did not. I was telling my friend that after the third game, I was like, Oilers are going to get swept. Like, that's it. This game is done. And they definitely proved me wrong, but the reason that I was basically like that was because, again, typically teams that go down 0-3, doesn't even matter which round it is, 1 through 4, doesn't matter if it's the first round, second, third, fourth. It's just very unlikely to come back. Can it happen? Obviously it can, because we just witnessed it. But the thing is, like, I just feel like they did it in such, like, shocking fashion at the same time that it's just, like, even, like, surreal, unreal to even imagine. I kept watching, like, I didn't watch every single game, but I know that when I was watching, like, as I watched, like, I didn't watch every single second because I was like, the series is done. Basically, for Game 4, I was at my sister's house for, like, a barbecue. That was, like, one day, I think, before Father's Day, if I'm not mistaken. And the Oilers killed it. Like, it was 8-1, as you guys saw. I already put in all the final seconds of each game there. So obviously we know that games 1 through 3, Florida basically dominated. Sergei Bobrovsky was unreal. And with that being said, I was like, yeah, like, this is not a good start for the Oilers, right? And once the Oilers, like, their penalty kill and everything was always, like, really good coming into this. Their power play was also really good. But it definitely was not as good in the finals. I don't know if I have the stats all here. I'm not going to go too much into, like, a preview, but mainly just to, like, talk about how, like, shocking it is. I know that everyone's making videos like, what the hell just happened? Like, this is, like, a total collapse, you know what I mean? So I will say a few stats, obviously, but I'm not going to go, like, into, like, players and things like that and how many goals have, you know, things like that. I'm not really going to go much into that. But basically, games 1 through 3 was a dominant performance by the Florida Panthers as far as I saw. I didn't watch every single game. But for Game 1, which was June 8th, the Panthers shut out the Oilers 3-0. Followed by Game 2, also in Florida, the Panthers scored 4 and allowed only 1. So in 2 games in Florida, the Oilers scored 1 goal. And the goal that I did witness, the Oilers did score first, but the Panthers came back with 4 more to answer them and then basically won the game 4-1. Resulting in a 2-0 series lead, and at that point I was like, the Oilers have to win games 3 and 4. If they lose games 3 or 4, it's done. Like, I was like, it's over, and obviously they proved me wrong once again. So the Panthers do win Game 3 in Edmonton 4-3. I think it was like 4-1, and then the Oilers came back, just weren't unable to come back fully. And at this point, everything was just off the table. It's like Oilers in 4, or sorry, Panthers in 4. This is like the worst in NHL final. It's just like the Dallas Mavericks and Boston Celtics NBA series. It was basically like aligned. Boston won a game, I guess games 1 through 3. Dallas won game 4, and then we're kind of like, okay, what'll happen in game 5? And I know that Dallas did lose, so Boston did end up winning that, and I was like, oh, I guess the Oilers are done, because I was basically saying that whatever happens there is going to happen in the NHL. It did for the first few games, then it went off the rails. Then it obviously was separate. But the Oilers killed the Panthers 8-1 in Game 4, which honestly, at this time I was kind of pissed. I was like, you couldn't have done this in Game 1. You couldn't have done this in Game 2 and 3. Now, I know they played well, and Sergei Bobrovsky was just like a beast. Like, he was like literally crazy. I don't know what his numbers are exactly, but it was like a 1 point something GPA, or sorry, GAA. Freaking GPA, what the fuck. and his save percentage was also unreal. It was like a 950 save percentage as far as I know, something like that, something insane like that. So it was like, the Panthers are just gonna win. Like, there's no way that Edmonton's gonna win 4 straight. They can't even score more than 4 goals in 3 games. Not good. And then again, we have an 8-1 victory by Edmonton, and I was like, okay, this only counts as 1 game, but you know, it's Florida leads 3-1. Great, now it'll be over in 5, whatever. Going into game 5, the Oilers, for game 4 as well, the Oilers did have like a 3-goal lead. Obviously, it was an 8-1 victory, so they obviously won by 7, but they did at one point have a 3-goal lead in this game. It was, I believe, 4-1, and then it kept going on from there. I'm just mentioning that because it goes significant in the next 2 games. So in game 5, obviously the Oilers won in convincing fashion, 8-1, forcing a game 5 back in Sunrise. And you heard the Edmonton players saying, yeah, we got to do a job here in Florida, then we got to drag them back to Alberta. Exactly what they did. The Oilers had a 3-0 lead, I believe, in the second period of game 5 in Florida, and everybody was just like, what the fuck is happening? Is this going to be a collapse? Like, are we going to lose the second game in a row now? And as far as I know, the Panthers have never lost back-to-back games or 3 games in a row prior to, I think, the last round of the playoffs, or round 2 against the New York Rangers, if I'm correct. So the Panthers have never lost this many games back-to-back, and I was just like, yeah, this is not happening. Like, Florida's way too good. Yes, we scored 8. Also, I forgot to mention that we also had to get Bobrovsky pulled in that game because of how bad he was playing, essentially. So that's crazy. Did not expect that whatsoever. So yeah, the Panthers were down 3-0. The Panthers obviously tried to climb back. Then it was a 4-1 lead. And then eventually the Panthers tried to come back. It was 4-3 with the empty netter. McDavid makes it 5-3. So they make it 5-3, and the series is now 3-2. And we're kind of like, okay, now we have a series because now they won in Edmonton, and now they also won in Florida. What's happening here? Game 6, June 21st. This was a crazy game as well. It's also worth mentioning that the Oilers also had a 3-goal lead in this game too. That's why I mentioned it was 3-0. It was 4-1 in the game 4. It was 3-0 in game 5. Also 4-1 in game 5, and then it was also 3-0 in game 6. So I know the Panthers did have a called back. It was offside. I know this is like really debatable, but it was like by the merest of inches, but it was still offside. Like, who says, oh, it was barely offside? Who cares? Like, it's offside. It's offside. If it's offside by this much, it's offside. It doesn't matter. That makes no sense. Like, yes, it can be frustrating. It's like, it was so close, but it's like, it was offside still. You can't argue with that, right? So it was offside. Anyways, so it remained 2-0 because the Oilers made it 2-0, and then the Panthers scored 10 seconds later to make it 2-1, but we thought it was not. So then it ended up being 3-0 by a goal by somebody, I forgot who, Zach Hyman or something, in the end of the second period, and then they made it 3-0 going into the third. Early on in the third, the Panthers scored to make it interesting, and then it was 3-1. The Oilers were able to hang on, add 2 empty netters, even Stuart Skinner with an assist to make it a 5-1 win in Edmonton in Game 6, and then there you have the series is now tied 3-3, and we're going back to Florida for a Game 7. Which, I was just watching every game kind of like, nothing's going to happen. Even if we do force a Game 5, nothing was going to happen. Even if we force a Game 6, nothing's going to happen. So anyways, now we're here at 3-3. Now anything can happen. I was telling my friend, just get to Game 7 and anything could happen. Florida could win, Edmonton could, anybody could win. It's a Game 7. Especially in the finals. So one stat that I will mention before I forget is apparently the team in Game 7s, like the visiting team in Game 7s, the away team in Game 7 Stanley Cup Final, have won the last 3 games. So the road team has won the last 3 Game 7s in the Stanley Cup Final. So that does go good for Edmonton, but obviously I'm not going to say, oh yeah, we're going to win just because of that. No, that's not how it works. So obviously it comes down to stats, and it's just like, oh yeah, what happened here? And you like, you know, like what happened here, this may reflect what happens here, but it's not always the case. So anyways, the Panthers won game 3 and 4 by a combined score of 11-4, while the Oilers won games 4-6 by an 18-5 margin. So very, very convincing. Scored 7 more goals than Florida did in their first 3 games and then in the last 3 games. So it's definitely been, I don't even know what to call it, guys. Like, is this like, I know that people are saying, is this like the greatest collapse in history, in NHL history? Is this just how good Edmonton is, and if they found their feet earlier, it could have been a 5-game series for the Oilers or a 6-game series for the Oilers, but now we're in Game 7. Edmonton, Florida, Game 7. And we haven't seen a Game 7 in the finals since 2019. I think the St. Louis Blues and Boston Bruins. I think St. Louis won that game. But basically, I just don't even know what to say. I know that Edmonton's power play was unreal up until the Stanley Cup Final, where I think it's slowed down, which obviously makes sense. Like, you're not going to get a bunch of power play goals against Florida, a team in the finals. The Oilers have a 94.1 save percentage, or percentage of penalty kill, in the playoffs, and they killed 64 of 68, which is insane. They've only allowed 4 power play goals in 15 games, which is crazy. And not only that, it's one thing to kill penalties, right? To start off games 4 and 5, they got a shorthanded goal. To get shorthanded goals, that just also requires something else. Like against Bobrovsky, against the Florida defense, you're literally 4 on 5, and then you score a goal. Back-to-back games. I believe Connor Brown was one of the ones that got one of those goals. And that really set the tone, because I'm pretty sure that was the first goal of both games, which obviously just sets the tone. It's like, oh, you're on a power play? We'll screw you. I'm going to score right here, right? So it's crazy how they were able to do that, essentially. And 64 for 68, they were able to get 2 shorthanded goals. And against the Panthers, exactly 1 for 19. So only 1 power play goal in 6 games for the Florida Panthers. I have no idea which game that was in, but they scored 1 power play goal. And honestly, I just don't even know what to guess for Game 7. Edmonton has all the momentum. Edmonton has all the... I think both teams now have pressure, but again, if the pressure did not get to them back in Games 4 when they were down 3-0, I don't think Oilers have pressure now either. The only thing is, now it's like a winner take all. Like, for all the marbles, you know what I mean? For the cup. 1 game. That's it. And with that being said, anything can happen. Oilers could play an off game. Panthers could play an amazing game. You can't really predict that, right? I was actually kind of nervous that this was going to happen before. I thought that the Oilers were going to choke in Game 5 and 6 and things like that and not be able to do it. So it's just crazy how things have turned, and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But like, who do you think will be the difference maker in Game 7? Obviously, for the Oilers, we're going to have Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid. We have Zach Hyman, we have Stuart Skinner, which has been unbelievable in the past three games. He has a 1.67 goals against average and a 942 save percentage in the past 3 games after he posted a 3.1 goals against and 868 save percentage in the first 3 games. So very different. 3.13 against 1.67, very different. So obviously we have a lot of players to look for, which I just mentioned, the Oilers. For the Panthers, it'll definitely be like Sam Reinhart, it'll be Matthew Tkachuk for sure, Gustav Forsling, Carter Verhaeghe, and who else but Sergei Bobrovsky. It'll all depend on his performance, it'll all depend on the Florida's defense. Anybody can win this game, again, because it is 1 game. That's why I know that the Oilers can win too, so as much as the Panthers could win, the Oilers could also win too, right? So you obviously can't count anybody out here. So just going into a little bit of Game 7 history. So there's been 10 Game 7s in NHL playoff history, including Monday night's affair, prior to which a team led 3-0. So basically there was only 10 Game 7s, so 10th time now that a Game 7 has been forced after a team was up 3-0. There's been 3 times a team has now rallied from a 3-0 series deficit in the Cup Final. Only 3 times. So both times took place during World War II, which is insane, 1945 and 1942. So none of us were around, most likely, at that time. And in 1945, the Leafs blew a 3-0 series lead to the Detroit Red Wings, but won Game 7. In 1942, the Wings were up 3-0, where the Maple Leafs won 4 straight to be the only team in NHL history to do so. But the thing is, if the Oilers win today in Florida, that will be the first time in NHL history that a team has come back from a 3-0 series lead in the Stanley Cup Final to win on the road. So the Leafs in 1942 did win at home. This would be the first time that a team wins on the road. So this would also make history too. So 3 other times a team has overcome a 3-0 series deficit to win a playoff round. That's not that many times. 3 times. The 1975 New York Islanders, the Philadelphia Flyers, and then the Los Angeles Kings. 2019 is the last time there was a Game 7 in the Cup Final. There was 17 previous Game 7s in the championship round. So 12-5, that's the record for teams, and that's the record for home teams in these games, in the 17 games that I just mentioned to you. And like I just mentioned, home teams have fared 0-3 in the Game 7 finals in the past 3 games. So this is definitely going to be something to look for. There's been 198 Game 7s in the history of the Stanley Cup playoffs since 1939. So this is almost 200 Game 7s and 188. This one's going to be, or assuming this is 199 or 198, this is going to be one for the history books, because obviously, as you guys know, this was a crazy final. I did not expect this to happen. Am I happy I did? 100%. Am I happy that it's a Canadian team doing so? I fucking love that. I'm Canadian and I want to see a Canadian team win. I'm not even an Oilers fan, bro. I'm more so of a Leafs fan, but obviously they're not doing shit. So honestly, just to see Canada get the cup again, and honestly, just in the fashion that they did it, either way, heartbreak will ensue tonight. Either way, heartbreak will ensue. If the Oilers lose, it'll be heartbreaking for Oilers Nation coming back just to lose in Game 7. For the Panthers, it'll be a historical collapse, and fans will be crying because literally 4 games prior, they were like, oh, we're up 3-0, we're going to win this for sure. Not so fast. And the crazy thing is the Edmonton coach, after Game 3, he said, I look forward to the next 10 days. And everyone was like, you're crazy because you're going to lose Game 4. That didn't happen. Okay, you'll lose Game 5. That didn't happen. Okay, are you lose Game 6? That didn't happen either, so what the fuck is happening, bro? You know what I mean? It's just insane. There's been 4 Game 7s in the 2023-2024 playoffs, including Monday night's final game, so not many this year. But the Oilers did eliminate the Vancouver Canucks in 7 in round 2 after a pair of instances in round 1. So we have Oilers already did win a Game 7. You know what I mean? On the road. This is obviously very different, but we'll see what we can happen. So there's been 2 Game 7s in the Cup Final that went to overtime, with the Red Wings having won both on home ice. This was back in like 1950 and 1954, so a long, long time ago. And before I end off this video, I will do some statistics, maybe just for who to look out for and who has the most points and goals. So for the players to watch for both teams, we have Zach Hyman, we have obviously Connor McDavid, and we have Connor McDavid. So McDavid has 34 assists and 42 points. So that's a lot of points to have. I think Connor McDavid has more points than Tkachuk and Verhaeghe combined. So Verhaeghe has 10 goals, Tkachuk has 16 assists, and Tkachuk has 22 points. So basically McDavid has like double what a Tkachuk has. Obviously for the goalie comparison, we have Stuart Skinner versus Sergei Bobrovsky, 14-8 record for Skinner, and 15-8 record for Bobrovsky. Obviously the general goals against average is 2.46 for Skinner and 2.38 for Bobrovsky. 1 shutout for Skinner, 2 shutouts for Bobrovsky. The save percentage here is very close, 901 for Skinner and 903 for Bobrovsky. Very, very close. Obviously in the past, obviously that's his average overall in the series, but obviously the past 3 games it has not been good. So basically Oilers are 30% on the power play, which is 2nd in the league. And the Panthers are 19%, which is 11th in the league. The penalty kill is really good for both teams. 2nd place for Edmonton is 94%, which is 2nd for the PK, and 88% for the Panthers, which is 11th in the league. Goals against and goals for, so the Oilers are 3.54, and then the Panthers are close behind, 3.09. Which is 13th and 5th. Then for goals allowed, 2.63 for the Oilers and 2.65 for the Panthers. So very, very close in margin. Like very, very close in margin. Like even the percentages are not that high off, are not that much off. Like this is going to be a game to watch, and this is going to be the game to watch. Like this is going to be the best game all year. I'll go through some final stats before I end this video, and then please let me know who you think is going to win, because honestly, I've been so eger to talk about it. I've been sending voice messages to my friends, and I'm like, oh my god, what's going to happen? Like, it'll be so devastating to see the Oilers lose, but then at the same time, either way, we're going to see a devastating loss today. For one team, it'll be a devastating loss. And I feel like Canada's cursed, and, you know, like Bettman doesn't want a Canadian team to win, and it's just like, I really hope the Oilers can finally win their first cup since 1993, which I think I forgot to mention that too. It's been over 30 years since a Canadian team has won in the NHL. So 3 Game 7s that the Panthers have played in prior to today's game. They beat the Penguins 3-1 in 1996. They lost 3-2 to the New Jersey Devils in overtime in 2012. And then last year, they upset a historically dominant Bruins squad with a 4-3 win in Boston. I remember that one. I was watching that one. And I was like, yes, I hate Boston. Yes, go Florida. Now it's like, go Edmonton. So there's been 12 Game 7s that the Oilers have played in before today. So 3 for the Panthers and 12 for the Oilers. So Oilers have much more experience. And the Oilers have won 8 of 12, which is great. And their 6.67 win percentage is tied with the Panthers and Sharks for 4th in NHL history. The Oilers' record in overtime of Game 7 is 2-0. They defeated the Stars in an extra frame in 1997. And then 6 years earlier, they took care of the rival Calgary Flames in overtime of their division semifinal series. So 6 years earlier, that would have been 1991. And the record in Game 7, they also won this year in Game 7, so I believe it's 3-0. I don't know why it says 2-0, but I guess they're 3-0. Or that's in overtime, sorry, that's in overtime. But just in Game 7, I know that we've won 1 or 2 games this year already. So 3 teams that won their first Stanley Cup championship with a victory in Game 7. The Panthers can join the Blues, Hurricanes, and Tampa Bay Lightning if they can do so. There has been 2 Cup Final Game 7s that the Oilers have played in prior to Monday. The Hurricanes beat Edmonton 3-1 in the 2006 final, but the Oilers did win against Philadelphia in 1987. So basically they're 1-1 in Cup Final Game 7s. Let's hope it's 2-1 after today. So the last time a team from the NHL, NBA, or MLB based in the Miami area played in a Game 7 was in 2013 in a championship round. So it's been a long time since this has been a thing for Florida. It's been 11 years now, which is crazy, which just goes to show you how rare these things are. There's been 10 Game 7s that the Oilers forward Corey Perry has played in. He's 5-5 with 4 goals and 2 assists, so 6 points. Perry is one of 7 active players who played in at least the last 10 of them. So that's a lot of Game 7s like to be in. That's a lot of, obviously the more experience you have, that's the better. So Vladimir Guerrero, or I was going to say Vladimir Guerrero Jr., just the same baseball. Vladimir Tarasenko has played 5 Game 7s. He leads the Florida roster in that regard, and he's the only player on either team who's played in a Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. So the only player actively that has played in a Game 7 in the Cup Final, which is going to be good, because then you have the experience. Sergei Bobrovsky is 35 years old, and he can join several goalies to win a Cup Final Game 7 at that age or older. So that's pretty, I did not know he was 35 years old. And 2 more stats for you guys. 4-0 is the Panthers head coach Paul Maurice's record in Game 7s. So he's very good in Game 7s. The thing is, Paul Maurice and his crew has also been 0-3 in the past 3. So again, 18-5 goal differential is pretty big. So it'll be a hell of a game, bro. It's been a hell of a series. It's been a hell of a playoffs. The Oilers at one point in the season were 2-9-1. They were last place. They fired their head coach and got a new one. They won 16 games in a row. They were down to 0-3, and then they come back, and now it all comes down to this. This would just be the cherry on top to provide, or not to provide, to cap off a historic, crazy season for the Oilers. And I'm ready for it. I'll be at work, but I'll be watching this game for sure. So I believe that's all I got for this preview for you guys today. I know I've talked a lot, and more so about me like ranting. But please let me know who you guys think will win. We have basically, probably when this is uploaded, probably 5-6 hours prior to Game 7, so not much time to watch this video. But I'll be at work. I'll definitely be watching the game at the same time, and it'll honestly be a good game. It'll be a crazy game, guys. It'll be one for the history books. Everyone's going to watch this. All of Canada's going to be watching this as far as I'm concerned, even at work, like me. And I really hope you guys can do it. So I really hope the next time I'll probably upload a highlight video where if it goes into overtime, I'll probably post the overtime goal or whatever may happen. And I wish I could film my reaction, but I cannot because I'll be at work in my uniform, so I can't be doing that, but I will watch the game for sure. So with that being said, thank you guys for all your support. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys liked it, be sure to give it a like, comment down below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. If you guys want to see more sports videos, let me know, because I can definitely do them. But let me know. And please let me know your suggestions, or please let me know like what you guys think is going to happen for tonight's game. What do you think the score will be? I honestly have no fucking clue. If the Oilers continue playing the way they're playing, they'll win. If Panthers flip the script and play how they played in games 1 through 3, it could be a challenge. But either way, Edmonton definitely has the edge here. I feel like, and I know a lot of like previews are saying that the Oilers will win, but I don't want to say anything because I really don't know. I really don't know, bro. I don't know if it'll go OT. I cannot handle OT. I cannot handle OT. I cannot handle OT. I might die at work with a heart attack, so please do not do that to me, Edmonton. Please just win 4-0 and then be done with it. Thank you. That's all I got for you guys today. So go Oilers go, and I'll see you guys in the next video.